You know, I've been thinking about what to say to you this morning, and you know what's going to change us to get really excited about this? Knowing that we are created in the image and after the likeness of God. And if you will get that in your spirit and in your head, in every part of your being, that you are created in His image. And after His likeness. What is image? Well, in the Hebrew language, image means a resemblance, a likeness, a statue, a model, a drawing, a shadow. It is as if you were to cut out of a molded material, something from an original. Well, let me just break it down for you. Because when you were created, let's talk about Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve were created in the image and likeness of God, what happened was they were created without sin. They were sinless. Had no sin. So inside of Adam and Eve was a perfect man, created and woman, created in the image of God without sin. There was no sin, just like God. So power and authority were in Adam and Eve because of that sinless state. When God created them, He created all that we see on the earth today and in the heavens. God created everything. But when He created man and woman, He said, you are to have dominion over everything that I've created with my hands, because you are made in my image without sin. So everything bows to you. In the Psalms, it says that God created man. It says, some versions say man a little lower than the angels. But if you look up that word in the original Hebrew, it's Elohim, meaning God. So it's not that angels are superior to you. And a lot of people struggle with that. They say, how is that possible? Well, God created you so that you would have dominion, and the angels in the New Testament tells us that they are servants. They are ministers to work on your behalf and my behalf. So God didn't make angels a little lower than Himself. He made you and I a little lower than Him, and we were supposed to go and do creative miracles after the image of God. Well, what is likeness? Well, this is a very interesting word, because likeness in the Hebrew is a verb. It is a verb. And if you know from school, a verb is a word expresses action, existence. It's an act or an occurrence. So verb is an action word. Now, put it together. You are created in the image of God. You have all that you need in God. And after the likeness, there it is. If then you have shared His resurrection and have new life. How does that happen? When we become born again. You see, we cannot walk in the image or after the likeness until we are truly born again. Because born again makes us sinless. Say, but we sin. No, you choose to sin. Because you are after His likeness. You have His mind. Say this with me. I have His mind, His will, and His emotions. So you choose to sin. When we make things wrong in the spirit, if you are truly born again, you cannot rest. When you do something wrong in the spirit, when you are in God, you see, in God, created in the image. When you have now that sinless nature again, you see, sin is only sin when you act. Sin is not sin just because it's a thought. You have the authority, according to the Word of God, to pull down imaginations and everything that opposes the will of God. You have that authority to pull down those vain imaginations, those things that are contrary. You have the authority to pull it down. When you become born again, you see, you could not do these greater works unless Jesus Christ came back to take all the authority. You could not do what he did in the state we were in. So he was telling his disciples, when I go back to the Father, the work is finished. It is finished. You now have God's perfect image, sinless, when you become born again. Therefore, he goes before the Father, he takes the precious blood, the sacrifice, he puts it on the altar, and he says to God, it's done. And God says, now the miracles can flow again. Not with just two, but as many that believe in my